I've done over 700 instructional shows. This show is by far my favorite ever. You got to watch, share with your friends. Let's do this. It's time for Proving It, presented by Titleist. Yeah, and it comes in yellow too. I've been reminding you of that. I've been using it, and it's fantastic. So last week, I talked to you about how important it is for you to be able to set up to this golf ball correctly. And when we're making putts, we got to make sure that that face doesn't have a lot of rotation to it. I wasn't making a lot of putts last week, and you know why? Because my aim was off. So what do we have here? We've set up something to teach you how to aim the ball, aim the putter, make more putts. And what we have is, I've got this yellow string that's running right along the putting mat. Now, I sell a bunch of putting mats, things that you can put indoors that will help you. My Let's Do This putting mat is a nice long putting mat that has this yellow string. You want to work on something indoors, this is great. If you don't, you can also take this and wrap this around a couple of sticks or pencils or something like that that can stab into the green and get to where you're using this to help you with your aim. Now, what do we do with this? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to aim the putter. So what you can see is when I put that putter under there properly and I look up at the target, you can see how the putter face and the yellow string create a 90-degree angle. If I take the putter face and I've got it a little too open, you can see now it's clear as day that those lines are no longer perpendicular to one another. And if I shut this down like this, you can also see that those are not perpendicular to one another. So the first thing you want to teach yourself is how to see this properly so that when we get underneath, now all of a sudden there's a perpendicular relationship. The next thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we work on our putting stroke. And as we work on this putting stroke, keeping this putter underneath this string, what you can see is that my putter face is staying relatively perpendicular to that string, and it continues to go down the line. If I start to take this putter and I go across it, you can see clear as day how that putter is now coming off of that line. It's not following the line of the putt where I'm trying to go, this being a straight putt down the line. So, by the way, there's a neat little trick on how you do this. I want to show you this. What you do is you take the ball, you bring it in under, now you put your putter underneath the string, and you roll the ball to where you want it to go. Now, right there for me, that's about, maybe a little bit too far, that's about in the middle of the golf ball from the overhead shot. So if you go to this overhead shot, what you're going to see is that that's in the middle. But for my eye, and this is in the down the line view, it's going to appear that it's slightly inside that line. I do not position my eyes directly over the golf ball. My eyes are slightly inside. So now what I do is I get set up this way, look down the line, and all I'm going to do is make sure that that putter face is staying perpendicular to that line. I send it down the line just like that, goes into the hole. Let's try that again. And what you can see is I hit it over. You're always jumping over. If this string starts to bob around, all you do is take your putter, you pull it up till it's a little bit taut, and then you gently bring it down. That'll help quiet that movement down. Same thing again. Putter goes in, I create a perpendicular relationship. Now I'm always looking up to try to find my eye line. One of the most important things that you can do, because you can't use this when you go out on the golf course, you've got to make sure that your eye is seeing this properly. So you put this under here and then you look up and make sure that you see the hole in the same place every single time. And then down the line it goes, boom, right in the hole, just like that. All right, so now, again, you can see how I pull that ball in, never messing with that string underneath. You want to get really used to what your eye sees and making sure that the ball's in the exact same spot, body's set up properly. There's another one. It's 3 in a row right there. I know those of you last week that were giving me a little bit of flack because I wasn't making any putts. And I agree with you. I did on the same thing, right? I'm telling you, this is what you got to do. You got to make these putts, and I'm not making any putts. And the reason why you can have a great putting stroke. If you aim poorly, you're not going to make the ball's not going in. You're not making the putt. You've got to make sure that you take a good putting stroke and marry it with great aim. And when you get to a point where you're able to aim properly and get a good putting stroke, you're going to start making some putts. Let's keep this streak alive. Again, always looking up at that target. Oh, that's beautiful. Right down the line. Excellent. All right, fifth one, last one. And good luck on this. Now, the fun part about this drill, what I love about this is the last one, the hole is pretty full. So what I have to do here is I've got to hit this a little bit softer so that the final ball goes into the hole. I got to take some speed out. And when you take some speed out, that means that you're very susceptible to all the imperfections in the green. That means you've got to be even more precise with the strike and with the face, which means I'm taking a practice stroke because I want to make sure that I'm feeling this setup position, trying to get used to that feeling of that putter moving the way I want it to move. Now I get in there, put that putter in there in a perpendicular fashion. And now, don't hit this too hard. Just let this just creep down to that hole. And there it is. That's how we go, 5 in a row. So here's what I want you to remember. You've got to get yourself some sort of an alignment device. Using a string with a couple of pencils really works. Also, string with some skewers works. Or you can get the putting mat, the Let's Do This putting mat over at Big Moss. All you do is just go to bigmoss.com and you can get the putting mat, and it's got this whole thing all set up. The only thing it doesn't come with are these weights over here. Once you're done making all those putts, now you just pick this up like this, and now you start working out the guns because the sun is out, the guns are out. This is how we're doing it. This is what I want you to do, and this is Proving It, presented by Titleist. It's time to transform your putting stroke. It's our transformational tip, and it's presented by Morgan Franklin. Now listen, you've heard me talk to you about controlling speed, controlling the face, all these little different things to help you make more putts. Well, guess what? Now I'm going to show you how to make a better putting stroke, and it requires a couple things. One, you can see I've got a box here. I've also got a little bit of I don't even know what we call this. This is something that comes in my putting mat, my Let's Do This putting mat. It looks just like this. And it's almost like a plexiglass kind of thing, but it allows for this putter, when we put the toe on it, to move very, very smoothly along it. And what you're going to hear when we do this is this putter head moving very smoothly. If I take the putter face and I start to rotate it, now the toe is going to be in different contact points with this little device, and what will end up happening is it will make noises. It'll bounce. You'll hear a bump. I'm going to show you what that sounds like here, okay? Don't be confused with this. Looks like I'm working on a straight back and straight through stroke. I'm not working on that. I'm actually working on controlling the putter face and making sure that the putter face doesn't open and close a lot. So when I put this toe on here, watch how, or listen to how quiet this putter head moves when the putter face is staying perpendicular to my little device. You can hear it just kind of zzz, zzz, zzz. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to twist the face. And I want you to listen to what happens to the noise. You hear that bump? And that's because on here we got 2 points. When I start to rotate that face open, this is in contact, but this isn't. And now when I rotate that face back, all of a sudden this leaves, but this hits it. And so it's bumping. The other thing that happens is that when I start making a bumping noise, it can also be that the putter head is bouncing into it. So instead of it gliding along here, it can be. We don't want any of that bumping. We just want a nice, smooth sound to the stroke, like this. Now, after I've done that, what I have is, the putter is going straight back, straight through. I'm not denying that. And on many putts, this is only about 12 feet. On a putt like this, on very fast greens, the putter isn't really going to have a lot of arc to it. But what we're really focusing on is making sure that we keep the putter face in line with where we want this ball to end up, our target. Once that putter face starts to open and close a tremendous amount, that's when we start struggling with getting the ball to start on the line that we want. So I put this in here, set the putter up this way, and now all I'm going to do is just move this putter head, move the toe right along my board. And it moves along the board right into the hole. Because the putter face, get the line one out here, the putter face isn't moving a lot. Here we go again. Another good stroke, another good outcome. All day long. You get to a point, and the other thing that happens after you do this drill a lot is the ball starts going in. And when it starts going in, you start thinking to yourself, man, I can make these. I can make these a lot, and I can do this. Which is why I have Let's Do This. Because you can do this. So we put that putter head in like this. Make sure that it's quiet. That goes in. It just rolled right over that ball that was in the hole already. Same thing again. Now I'm going to show you how to set into this so you understand how this works. This will require the overhead shot. We pull the putter head, we pull the ball in, and now what we're going to do is we're going to roll the ball into the area where we're going to strike. And my toe is already on there, but you can see that ball is out on the toe. So now we just roll it back, and we keep measuring it so that it's in the center. And now I'm in a good spot right there. And now I'm just grind that right along. Try it again. And what you're really focusing on is making sure that the putter face is nice and square, and we're not getting a lot of bouncing on that. In fact, no bouncing. You can see that golf ball starting right on the line that I want it to start on. Now, after we've done that, now we're going to take all this and we're going to move it out of the way. This is the pressure. So now we take the ball in here, and if you want, by the way, you just go over to your little device, you do a little grinding, get a feel of what this feels like. The toe is staying very much on that, so the putter face is staying nice and square. And now we come in here again, get set up. So after you do this practicing and you step away and control that putter face, then guess what? Yes! You're making more putts. And that's our transformational tip presented by Morgan Franklin. It's time for a grip tip presented by Golf Pride. Now, so many times, and what I hear a lot of conversation about nowadays is laying the shaft down. We've got to shallow the club or lay the shaft down. What does that all mean? But basically what that means is in a camera one, that the shaft is going to be shifting a plane from, say, more perpendicular to the ground to more parallel to the ground. Now, in order for me to do that, what I want to do is I want to isolate the grip, because the grip is going to be very important here. So what I have is I've got this Golf Pride Align grip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this way. Now it's more perpendicular. Now what I want you to follow or focus on is as I start to take the grip and twist the grip like this, what do we notice happening in the body? Well, there's a couple of things that we notice. One is that I'm getting some tremendous forearm rotation. In other words, here, my elbow is pointed down to the ground. When I take my elbow and I point it out to the side, I start to take the shaft of the golf club and lay the shaft down. The other way to think about it is that I'm taking the trail elbow and I'm going to turn the trail elbow up more and get it inside the wrist. So when I start to go like that, now all of a sudden what that does is that it takes the grip and it puts the grip on more of an angle, which takes the shaft and lays it down. So when we take the club back, and now I start to do that, this move here lays the shaft down. Now, you're not going to do this. You're just going to try to do this. Because when I do this here, it looks like my body is standing up. It looks like everything is going crazy and the club head is way, way, way behind me. You won't do that, but it'll feel like you're doing it. And this is part of the art of working on your game and improving your game, realizing that what you feel and what's real are two totally different things. So what should happen when we lay the shaft down? Well, one of the things that should happen is that the path of the golf club now should start to come more from the inside. If we take the club and we steepen the shaft, now the head starts tipping over the handle, and that's when we start to get into the shank business. We start getting into pulls, right? So if I go like this and then do this, I'm going to hit a shot that's going to pull way off to the left-hand side. What I want to be able to do is, and I'll also show you the other thing is that launch angle gets low. That's going to be a 49-foot apex, very, very low, because the club now is driving down like that, and it starts to make the ball flight out very low. In order for us to shallow the club, lift the apex up, we've got to get this feeling that the forearms are going to rotate, and my trail elbow is going to work inside the wrist. And when that starts to happen, what you'll see over here is my horizontal launch is 5.8 degrees to the left. Call it 6 degrees to the left. When I start to do this little move with my elbow and I start to get my forearms to rotate, the club starts to drop down like this. Two things are going to happen. One, my launch, actually a lot of things are going to happen. I'm going to launch the ball a little bit higher. That launch on that one, my launch angle there was 14.5 degrees. So my launch angle is going to go up. My horizontal launch angle is going to get more to the push side or to the right side. And also, my apex is going to climb. I'll also get a little bit more distance. Other than that, there's no real advantage to doing this. So here's what I want you to do. Get in here like this. Feel the lead forearm rotate. Right now, what you can see is that when I go back, my watch is now pointing over to camera 2. I'm going to take my watch and I'm going to turn it up to camera 5 up here. So I'm going to start to go like this and go like that. And that shaft is going to lay down, and this ball is going to jump up into the air. Now, I'm going to feel like I'm doing that. It's not going to do that, but I'm going to feel like I'm doing it. It'll do it, but it won't do it as extreme as it appears when I'm doing that in slow motion there, okay? So, let's give this a shot. Now, let's come on over here and let's talk about what we talked about before. Because what we noticed was, and I'll just go back to this, about a 14.5-foot vertical launch. I also had that ball starting well left. I think it was 5 degrees, 6 degrees, something like that to the left-hand side. I had a 49-foot apex, so not exactly high. And also, that golf ball, when it lands, it rolls a tremendous amount because the apex is so low. Now, what did we get here? Well, all of a sudden, I got an apex of 100 feet. Boom, that went straight up into the air. My vertical launch, 20.6 degrees. In other words, that vertical launch went from 14.5 to 20.5. So I gained 6 degrees of vertical launch. That starts to shoot the ball up into the air. And remember I told you about how that was going to start a little bit to the left when I came and I got over the top of it? Now all of a sudden I lay that shaft down, and you see what happens here? Look at the launch. 4.2 degrees to the right. What does that all mean? That means that when my golf ball lands 71 yards later, it only rolls out a yard. It rolls out to 72 because that golf ball now is coming down into the green. The descent angle is very, very low. And so all that stuff means this has a real value to you. You want to get rid of that slice. You want to get rid of that over the top. You want to get rid of that short shot. You want to generate more club head speed, more distance. You got to lay the shaft down. And the way you're going to do it is feel like that trail elbow is getting in front of the wrist, and the watch on the back of your lead hand. The watch face is now pointing up to the sky. Now I'm going to do that same thing again. See if we can get something comparable to that. I might even go at this a little bit harder, because why not? Here we go. So now I got a little bit of lag in that one. Did the same thing. Look at my numbers. All my numbers came up again. Come on up here again. I know you love seeing this stuff. I do too. So we were 100 feet the time before, 105. 20 degrees before, 21.1 degrees. Got that ball to soar up into the air. That ball flew out to about 175, rolled out to 177. You want to gain some distance. You want to gain some consistency. You want to get rid of that slice. You got to lay the shaft down. How are you going to do that? You got to make sure that trail elbow is getting in front of the trail wrist, and the watch face is going up into the air. That's going to create forearm rotation, and that forearm rotation is going to be the key to getting that shaft to lay down, get that head coming from the inside, get your ball to start to the push side and create that draw. And that is a grip tip presented by Golf Pride.